I'm in this funny little thing today. I've just taken a break from working on the Volvo because it's MOT time. I shouldn't really be here making this video today. I've got important things to be doing, but I couldn't resist it. Let's go over the pit. That's Rachel's daughter's car. It's a Toyota Aygo or Igo or something like that. It's a funny little thing. It's like go-karting. It puts a smile on my face. I wouldn't like to own one, but to use from time to time, it's like driving an old Mini or something. You know, a proper Mini. That's shepherd's purse, that one. Edible all over, including the seeds. And this one's fat hen. Also edible, but absolutely disgusting. Horrible, hairy, crunchy texture. Yeah, survival food only. I've had a couple of very interesting comments on me Sundon pit videos from a local guy called KDoc82. And he was telling me that approximately 15 years ago, when he was in his mid-20s, he was here at Sundon pits with his brother. And they saw, unmistakably, a big cat. Now, he described very well where he saw it, and I know where he was talking about. So, let's go there. Looks like it's going to be quite a nice day. What a stroke of luck that was. We're getting sidetracked now. I think this is going to be a slightly longer video than I'd intended. I found the proper entrance down to the lakes. The proper entrance, the easy one, that's got a tarmac drive. I want to get on and have a little investigation into the big cat, but we're going to stop there on the way back now. It's got to be done. I met a guy down there, guy fishing, and he was telling me that in the past, yeah, he's been fishing here for years, and he said in the past, the rumours of a big black cat in Sundon pit were absolutely rife. And he said, at the time, back in the local paper, he said it was probably the Herald and Post. In the Herald and Post, there was either an interview or an article about a woman who'd been feeding them frozen chicken. Because the houses aren't far from here. As you've seen walking in, it don't take long to get over here from the houses. So she was trying to semi-domesticate the Bedfordshire big cat. Anyway, we're going to get back to the lake. Let's go and see where KDoc82 saw the black cat. Bloody hell, I just realised that I still had my camera set to low light mode after yesterday evening. I've changed it back now. Hopefully those first few bits are going to come out alright. This is just approaching where he saw the cat. Right, which one looks least treacherous? Let's take this one. Right, see you at the bottom. Quite dry today. So I think I'm going to be able to get down that muddy track later, which we've got to see for a particular reason. Now this is over near the old works. This is where I believe the what was it called? The sort of the grinding and mixing machinery was all going on. Now KDoc82 said that he was standing around here, facing south, with the M1 to the right and this line of cliffs to the left, and it was over on those cliffs. Now he did say in one of his messages that 15 years ago it wasn't this overgrown. There was a lot less in the way of trees. I'm imagining something a bit more akin to how Houghton Pit looks at the moment, you know. So there was a fair bit less in the way of trees going on. And it was over there. Let's zoom in for you. Somewhere over on that hillside there that the cat was sat looking at him. And he said that it was the size of a dog. And he said that it just sat there looking at him. But the tail was enormous. He said the tail was huge. And then what really set it for him as a big cat was when it ran off, it shot up that cliff face like no dog possibly could. So I hope I've got the right location there, K-Doc. I think I have. You did describe it quite well. Right, now the next place I want to go and look at is just down here where we came from, down by the footbridge that goes over the railway line and the M1. Because I'm not just here on K-Doc's sighting. I was already putting together a funny little theory, just for the fun of it. So, right, I'm going to find a nice flat spot where I can take my bag off and get my maps out, and I'll show you this theory. We'll stay out of the tunnel for today. Not enough time. I'll tell you what, let's sit down here, shall we? One slightly irritating thing about living where I do is that I always end up having to use two maps, because I'm right on the border of 3 counties and also right on the border of two different OS maps. Do you remember in the Bedfordshire Big Cat video I was telling you about Mr. Me, who was the owner of Dartmoor Zoo, and the problem that he had with his pumas caterwauling and bringing in the local wild population? Well, that got me thinking. Let me show you on the map. Right, here we go. Now, I hope you're going to be able to see this kind of okay. Right. Here's Dunstable. Here's Houghton Regis. Here's the M1. Now, we've got to the west of the M1, we've got where are we? Here we go. Woburn Safari Park, which has lots and lots of big cats. And then we've got lots and lots of open countryside until we get down here to Whipsnade Zoo. So we've got this hot spot in between the two, which is where I did my big cat video. Tottenham, Tilsworth, Heath and Reach, Stanbridge, it's all in this stretch of land between the safari park and the zoo. I wonder if there's a similar situation possibly going on there, where the local wild population are hearing the cries coming from these two locations, and you know, maybe it's no surprise really that we've got a bit of a hot spot in between the two. Now, we're currently here at Sundon Pit. Let me zoom in a bit and show you just how big Sundon Pits are. Sorry, zoom in, I mean move in. All of this bit here is all Sundon Pits. And then the blue line's the M1, the black line is the railway line, both of which you can hear very clearly just to my right. So, why might a big cat have been seen here? Well, when you've got the M1 cutting through the countryside the way it does, those big cats are going to want to, if they possibly can, access both sides of it. Now, down here at the pits, on the Icknield Way here, there is a footbridge. I think there might even be 2. And then, just a little bit further up here, before you get to Toddington Services, I'm pretty sure there's a farmer's underpass as well, which goes underneath the motorway. I'm not going to go wandering off up there, that's a little way away. But we'll go down here and have a look at the footbridge and see if it might be a crossing point for the big cat. No, not today. I think this is where we'll find the footbridge. The footbridge and the underpass in the vicinity, I think might well be a another good reason as to why they're seen around here. Because obviously in the pits themselves, where K-Doc saw it, there's a lot of shelter, there's a lot of water, there's a wide variety of prey species, and it's all accessible by the wider landscape. Now obviously a big cat isn't going to go trotting across a footbridge in broad daylight. And who knows, in the dead of night, maybe they even take their chances and run across the M1, but you'd imagine that you'd get a few more sightings on the road, and a few more dead ones as well. But, right, it's a little bit further than I thought. Come on, bridge. I've got to walk all this way back again yet. Here we are. I've never been over here. God, I'm getting a sense of dread, you know. Oh, I feel quite uneasy. You know, after when you're having a nice little walk like that, and then suddenly you hit this big, scary, noisy structure, and all those power lines. Oh, right, we'll be quick about this and get back into the woods. They've built it up very high. If I hold it up, can you see the track? There comes a train. This is the Bedford to Brighton line. There's the M1 over there. I see no reason why a big cat wouldn't use this as a crossing point for the M1. There's no habitation around. We're a good distance from any houses or anything like that. It's just the motorway, the train track. Right, here's our motorway crossing, which, I tell you what, I don't want to walk on it. I don't feel nice. Ugh. But there you go, okay? That's one possible reason why they might be hanging around here. Let's get back in the woods. Bloody hell, that's a harsh thing to see on a railway bridge, isn't it? Samaritans. Oh, yeah, I don't like this bit of the walk. Let's get back to the woods. Okay, with all of that noisy, nerve-rattling unpleasantness behind us, our next stop is going to be at the lake. Now, do you remember I couldn't get down there last time, could I? I now know the proper way. But at the time I thought my only option was this really steep, chalky, muddy slope that I couldn't get down. Probably could get down it today because things are nice and dry. But I noticed something when I was there, and I didn't mention it. Didn't seem worth mentioning. But in hindsight, I think it's worth going back. That last video, if you look at about 8, I think it's about 8 minutes 45, just as I'm woefully contemplating that slope and deciding not to go down it, you can actually see in frame there are some very large claw marks in the side of the hill. Now I don't know if they're still going to be there. We've had weather since, and quite possibly some people going up and down the slope. But I've brought my vernier caliper with me. We'll have a look and have a measure. See if it might be a cat. Somewhere off in that direction there are 2 more pits that I've not explored yet. The northern pits. Back for those another day. I wouldn't mind betting those northern pits are just the other side of this mound. That's for another time. People coming. There's the track. We're right on the opposite side of the lake. And when I come back, we'll be going in the angler's entrance down there and have a look at all those lovely views that you can't see at the moment. Just passed a family back there, out with their young son. He looks like he's probably about 9 or 10 years old. They've brought him over here to play with his BB gun. Nice. Just through here, if I'm not mistaken. Is it this one here? I think this was it. Oh. Yeah, this was it. I can see scuff marks from boots where there were once claw marks, unfortunately. Let's have a quick look down there. We'll be going down there in a minute. Right, what can we see here? No, people have been up and down since, and you can see these scuff marks instead. There were, if you want to see it, go back to the other Sundon pit video. I think it was about 8 minutes 45 when I was standing on this same spot looking down there. There were some very clear large claw marks. Shame I didn't get to have a closer look today and give them a measure, but they're probably just a dog or a fox anyway. I just wanted to have a quick look. Well, that was a whole lot of walking for nothing, wasn't it? Right, gonna go all the way around the top again and back down. Just over about there is where the anglers have built a bit of a staircase down the side. Those potential crossing points on the M1, the bridge and the underpasses, they might be quite an obvious place for a trail cam to be set up, but I don't think it's secure enough really. I wouldn't want to buy one and set it up there. You just get too many dog walkers and people coming through. And the angler I was talking to earlier, he said you do get groups of teenagers with ghetto blasters coming and being rowdy and making a lot of noise, so I'm not going to bother with that. But I think if I did have a trail cam and a good way of chaining it to something, that would be quite a good point to set one up, I reckon. I just got mildly excited then. I mean, okay, very clearly dog. These ones here, look, you can see the claws the claws out. But then these ones just next to it, I thought, is it? If you look closer, there are tiny little claw marks. And not really big enough. But that's the sort of thing I need to keep a lookout for. Okay, we're nearly there now to get down to the lakes. I've seen some people fishing down there already, so we'll try not to disturb them too much. If I'd have thought ahead, I'd have brought a nice cold beer with me. This looks like just the spot down here. I'm seeing so many great big red dragonflies, but they're just too quick. I'm pointing right at some now, just above the lilies, but I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see them. And there seems to be a lot of fish in here. I'm seeing these little ripples bobbing up to the surface all over the place. It's a nice willow. Seen a bit of damage in the past. Not the biggest willow, but pretty large. And its neighbour. Not quite as big and old. And so on, and so on. I'm going to hang out here for a little bit.